Hey, welcome back to the show, Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. Arif Halaby, along with Logan Halaby, my oldest son, has worked with us for over a year now, Total Financial Solutions. College graduate already, and somebody who's kind of made money, worked at summer camp as an Eagle Scout, been somebody who I think is pretty honorable, gentlemen. I don't know. Do parents do that? What do we do that for? I don't know why.
I don't know, but it happens everywhere we go almost.
Doesn't it? I don't know. Just look, all I want you to do is just to let me pick just the career that you're going to have and who you're going to marry. Other than that, the rest of it is yours.
Okay, so the
Pretty
important
reasonable,
stuff,
right? Yeah, just those two things. The rest of it you can you can choose. Being a parent. But now he's a man, and we're talking about your financial life. And let me explain something that I think is very clear. Priorities will dictate the way and how you spend this windfall that comes your way. Some of you think that the tax refund is just a savings plan or a way for you to pay off your car insurance or your property tax. Let me tell you, that is a very bad and skewed way to look at it. Now you might say, oh, but it works for us. That's fine. It can work for you to do all sorts of things, poke yourself in the arm with a stick. And you say, oh, but I'm okay with that. No problem. It doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. So if you're committed to building proper money habits, not in a scarcity way, here's what I mean by that. Not running around just everything you do is cut coupons and how do I save? How do I save? I don't want you to just think that way. I want you to think, how do I earn more? How do I become more valuable? How do I make better decisions? Because if your life is about saving $2 on a Groupon or running around and saving 50% on a dinner and you think you just scored big, what did you do with that other half? What did you do with that savings? If you blew it, then it doesn't matter how much you saved. And that goes back to, oh, if I only made $5,000 a month, right? Ladies and gentlemen, look, remember this. Remember you guys? Remember when you made $5,000 a month between you and your husband or you and your wife and you were struggling and you had a house payment and a car payment? And then you go, if only we made like $7,500. If we earned $7,500, life would be so much better. And then you make $7,500. And then you go, no, it's got to be $10,000. Boy, $10,000 a month. Can you imagine what life would be like? And you make it and you're just as broke and on and on. So you need to realize that it is never how much money you make unless you are on the extreme. What I mean by that is if you make $1 or if you make $1 billion, fine. The money is part of the conversation. Either it really matters or it doesn't matter. But for most of us, we're in the middle. And that means money doesn't matter. Your choices and how you spend it and your habits do. So here's some key pointers. You're going to have a tax refund. Maybe big number coming in your way. First thing you have to do is do what? Pay your taxes on the money. You go, but Arif, I'm getting a tax refund. What? Yes, it is now income for next year's income tax. So check with your CPA, check with your financial advisor or your tax preparer, and take the dollars that this now newfound income, some of it is taxable, some of it may be a tax credit, so it may not be taxable. But if it is a taxable event, in most cases it is, you have to pay income tax on the tax refund. Number one. Number two, I want you to take half of it and set it down the savings plan.
And savings for your, the immediate emergency fund of, hey, we need a new roof and the car broke down, as well as retirement planning for the future because you won't be working forever.
Yeah, and there's a formula that we have with that for your savings, for your emergency account.
The ideal emergency fund is about 6 to 8 months worth of how much you spend.
Yeah, those expenses, right? So the expenses that you need. Now, look, if you're injured and you can't work, you're probably not going to, or you shouldn't, be going out to dinner and spending money the same way. So food, shelter, clothing, insurance, 6 to 8 months of that. You want to really be safe, and it makes my life a lot easier when clients come in and they're like, oh, we're in between jobs, or I got hurt, or I'm run out of sick time, and I still need to get better in the next month or so. Have a year. Give me 12 months of your expenses. Set aside in an emergency account. And Logan, as you were mentioning, a savings account, a CD, something like that. I know, guys, you're not going to get any interest. That is not the job of this money. You've heard me talk before. Money has a job to do. The money that is set aside in this emergency account is access. That's one of the jobs. Access. Your retirement money, that's income. I need income later. I need to make money later. Fine, that's retirement. Today, it's about access for emergency accounts. Okay. Next, you're going to have some debt to pay. So if we take half and we set it down to savings and we build it in your emergency account, we start putting it towards retirement, etc. What about the debt side? What about getting out of debt? You just received $4,000 bonus. It's the end of the year. The company withheld the taxes, so that's good. I took $2,000 and I set it in my savings account. Logan, what about the other $2,000? Just go spend it?
Well, we'd all like to do that, but really the smartest thing is to focus on the debt that you have, and specifically the debt that is the most expensive.
There you go.
Not just in terms of the interest rate and the payment. Those two factors combined, along with how much you owe, can turn into a formula, and you can figure out which debt actually costs you the most money a month and overall.
I think one of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to paying off debt is they immediately focus on interest rates. The interest rate is a little bit of a scam in the sense that it's not as valuable in getting out of debt as it is in saving money. And I said that and you go, same thing. No, it's not. You have a choice. You want to get out of debt sooner, or do you want to save money on interest? They are often not the same thing. So what is your purpose? If your purpose is to get out of debt sooner, then you may pay a little bit more in interest. And the formula Logan was just breaking down is that ratio between your payment and the balance. Here's a good example. If your payment is $500 a month and the balance is $12,000, then that is $6,000 per year divided by 12. That means half. I want extra dollars put towards that, because the moment $12,000 is paid off, I have now captured $500 a month that I can use to eliminate debt in other areas. Whether or not the interest rate is high or low, it's not that important. It's capturing that monthly amount. Because remember, your paycheck comes per month, your bills per month, your savings accounts per month, your interest rates, right, are divided and paid usually per month. So you live monthly, and you don't live in interest rates. You don't say, I spent 1% of our money yesterday at the grocery store. You don't say that, right? You say, I spent $300. So I want you to convert this, everything you do, into dollars. By converting it into dollars, that's how you think. The moment you start going in interest rates, it's a flashback to your freshman calculus class or algebra class, and you're like, I hated this. Take me away. I just want you to think in money, dollars. Oh, money, yeah, I like money. Money's good, I can think that way.
And what happens when you follow this method of paying off your debt is things start to snowball. And while it starts off sometimes kind of slow, if you have a lot of places you're focusing on, it builds up as you eliminate things you have to pay off. And now you are applying more to the next debt. And then you're applying 2 payments to the third item, and down the line until one day you wake up and everything's gone, hopefully.
Yeah, part of that is you allocate a budget towards debt. And when you do, it's going to 7 places each month. And then, oh, wait, next month you paid off one of those. That same number, but now it's going to 6 places, and then to 5, and then to 4. So it's called a debt stacking or snowball. I've been doing it for our clients for 20 years now. It's literally one of the first things that we focused on. By doing that, every time you have extra cash that comes into your life based on this 50% formula, whether you win the lotto, whether you have an inheritance, sometimes lotto winners are in a group. And so you get pieces, right? Oh, we won $3 million divided by 10 after taxes. We chose the lump sum. So really your payments might be $24,000 a year. It's a lot of money, but it's not $3 million. So you have to allocate it properly. You have to take it in. You have to do the balancing the budget, take some. Maybe you want to spend a little bit. That's fine. Enjoy your life. But you have to put some towards the savings, some towards debt elimination, because you already spent that money. One of the biggest mistakes that I see consistently is when people go to the restaurants or the grocery stores and they use their credit cards, not for the points, where they can get the extra points, but because they can't afford to eat dinner and they're going to carry that over to the next month. So you charge this month $400 in eating out, and you only put $50 on your credit card, so you're carrying the balance. Folks, that money is gone. You spent it. The food is gone. I don't want to get graphic, but understand it's not there anymore. So you have to make a choice. You have money that you're owed, and it's air. So that is what I want paid off. You go, oh, but I bought this house. Fine, you have something there. You physically have something. When we talk about financial strengths and the ability to get strong and make better choices, part of that is fixing the thinking. And part of your thinking, part of our thinking growing up, was that buy a home, it's an investment. Buy a home for you to live in. It's an investment. It's investing in your future.
I thought investments made you money.
Yeah, folks. Isn't that an interesting definition that the wealthy have already figured out? It's why they own the businesses, the buildings, the houses that you rent. If you're going to save up your money and you're going to buy a place to live, no thank you. Unless you don't care about being wealthy. First, right, consistently do this. Look at buying a house, somebody else rents it. Buy another one, maybe it's an apartment building, a duplex, I don't care. Somebody else rents it. You're still renting or living with your parents or living in a garage. I don't care. But somebody else is going to work to pay your mortgages. The profit, the tax breaks you get by being a landowner. Now guess who works for the home that you're going to live in? You or those folks?
And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, essentially, where once you have the first one established, it makes it much easier to get the second one.
Yeah,
and
because
the third.
you've now established yourself credibility-wise as a potential landlord and a investor in a real estate. Don't ever think that you should save up your money so you and your spouse can buy a house to live in. Unless the goal is not success or wealth, financially speaking. Yeah, but we're renting and there's 3 of us living in a 2-bedroom. Yeah, I know. And you don't understand and we need a new car. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and yeah. And it's okay. But if you don't want to be wealthy, successful, financially, whatever, then I'm telling you this stuff because what people do is they go out and they do a couple of things, statistically speaking, and one of those is this. They go out, take their money, they buy the most expensive house. Now they have house property taxes. Now they have car water bills, electricity of an enormous house. Have you ever seen what it takes to air condition and heat a 4,000 or 5,000, 6,000 or more square foot house?
And especially when it's 110 outside with the way our summers get out here.
Yeah. So remember, I don't care if you buy that house, but just don't pay for it. Oh my gosh, Arif, what are you telling me? No. Have other investments, whatever they are. Real estate, you want to invest in the stock market, whatever. Have those things make you money. Because if you're going to go to work so that every year you can pay your property taxes through your income tax return, in my opinion, that's a problem. Because then you are back in the same hole next year and next year. And if we go back 10 years and we say, how much were you making back then? And you add up everything that you've made between then and now, and you say, and I have $900 in my savings account. Folks, you are working, you are making people rich, just not you. Have you seen the pensions of government workers? Have you seen the retirement accounts of the gas company, electric company, cable company? When do you pay off your cable bill anyway? When is that paid off? Never. Right? It's a whole new bill that just came out of the air just, a decade or so ago. Your cell phone, it is never paid off. It's never paid. And next month it's all over again. So I want your assets to pay for those things. And if we start thinking right, I think we can get to a place to where when you have an inheritance, when you have a promotion or a big bonus at work, those extra cash dollars go right in your pocket. And they go down the investment channel, they go down the savings channel, they go down the retirement channel, they go down in the whatever it is that's important to you, including paying off debt if you have bad debt. We'll get to that, and we're going to wrap up here in just a minute when we come back on Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour on AM 1220 KHTS. All right, welcome back to the show. Total Financial Solutions Safer Money Hour. Arif Halaby and Logan Halaby talking about your family's finances. Okay, here's some exciting statistics. Do you know this about lotto winners? Bad news, folks.
Yes, the numbers are 70%, that's 70, of people who win the lottery or have some other kind of massive windfall where it's And again, the life insurance, big inheritance, super job promotion, lawsuit settlement, whatever it is that is a big sum of money all at once, 70% of them are bankrupt within 5 years.
You guys, that is incredible. 70% is bankrupt in 5 years. You know what that means? Now, maybe some of them were on track already, and that was their Hail Mary, was to buy a lotto ticket, and they were already poorly managing their own finances, and so that it just delayed the inevitable, maybe, or accelerated the inevitable. But I would have to say that many of those, if not most, are just not going to go bankrupt anyway until the day comes when they just they receive a big chunk of money. Part of the biggest challenge is there is a sense of value that we all have, sense of self-worth. So if you go to work and let's say your job is worth $70,000 a year, that's what you make, it's what the job is worth, you make it. Doesn't matter how nice of a person, how wonderful of a human being, all of those things, the job is still worth $70,000. And then suddenly you learn a new skill. I had a friend that did this. He had learned a skill at his job that very few people knew, and it was the up-and-coming technology. And so they promoted him to be like the head of this department. Well, his income went from, and it was part-time, the late night, all the way through to the second job, which was 2.5 times the pay. $40,000 a year is what it was, to nearly $120,000 a year, $10,000 a month. It's a huge pay jump, and it was for a huge company here where he was now eligible for pensions and all sorts of things. I need you to figure this out, because part of this is if his income and his mindset, when he went into work, he was worth $40,000 a year, and now he walks in and he's worth $110,000, $120,000 a year, something happens to us mentally. And you need to be in touch with that to say, how do I become that person that says I'm worthy of getting a paycheck for sitting in the same chair or down the hall or over here, where yesterday I was in a different spot, right? So there's a game that we have to figure out in our head, because everybody says, oh, yeah, I'd be a millionaire, right? Give me a room full of 2,500 people, especially, high school, college kids, right? With the safe space and the safety pins, and everybody gets a trophy and the certificate of a participation, right? And nobody uses a red pen because you don't want to offend those at the junior high, and you can use purple. It's okay.
What happens when purple starts to be the scary color?
Well, then I think I'm scared of purple now, right? And Arif, you don't understand. Statistics have shown, psychology. Really? Wow. Lucky we've survived as a nation this long. Sorry. But now you take those people and you say, and who wants to be a millionaire? Everybody would raise their hand. I want to be. Who wants to be 10 million? Oh, yeah. 100 million. Oh, yay. Cheering, everybody, yes. But how many of you are currently managing what you're paid? Hands will go down. I don't have a job. I don't work. It's hard enough being a student. So those folks are the ones that you're going to leave money to many, many years from now when you pass away. Because the goal when you pass away at the end of the day is to hopefully have enough money to live on, live comfortably, spend it, do well, but then to leave some to your children or grandchildren. Not everybody, but some people want to do that, most. And if you don't train those young people how to handle money at this age, if they don't learn, then when they get the chunk of money that you have worked your entire life for, statistically speaking, it's between 8 and 15 months gone. You worked a lifetime, they spent it in 6 months, a year. That's scary.
And that 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is before the money's gone, that's pretty consistent no matter the money is. So people are able to adapt their spending to whatever amount of money they have. If it's $10,000, they figure out how to spend it evenly, and then it's gone at the same time frame as if they gotten 100,000 or more.
So let me give you a little trick that I learned early on, and I think part of it was out of desperation or out of need, I guess. I was making $4.25 an hour, I think, something like that. And then I got a job that I got promoted, and I worked 32 hours a week instead of 20 hours a week at the $4 an hour. And it was $7.50 an hour. It's a lot of money to me. $7.50 an hour. I was working 32 hours a week in the afternoons and going to school in the mornings. And then all day, I think one or two days a week, I was at school most of the day. So I worked Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then at school the rest of the week. Part of what I had to do was to manage my money for the rest of the week, because I was working 8 hours, but if I could work a little overtime shift, or there was a holiday, the Christmas holidays, the summer holidays, I would pick up an extra shift or two, my paycheck would increase, then I'd go back to what I was used to. So what I did is I said, okay, I was making $4 an hour, and I remember spending all of my money at $7 an hour, and I thought, wait a second, $4 times 20 hours a week, that's $80 I was making. And now today, I'm making $200. Why am I spending the same $200? So what I did is I committed to saving. So every time I had a pay raise or a paycheck that had a little bit of overtime or an extra shift or something, I took half of it and saved it, and then half of it, I didn't have any debt, so half of it I spent. And that allowed me, every time my pay increased, and then I got a full-time job after I graduated at 40 hours a week, and then I got a job with a salary and I was making more money. And every time, as long as my bills, if my bills raised up, if I bought a car or something or changed my expenses, I moved that up a little bit, but I still took half and saved it. So I was living on a lower amount, even though I was making a much higher amount. That is one of the little formulas that I developed that you can teach your kids. So when they inherit your money, they don't just take it and blow it, but instead they take it. Look, a lot of people, like him or not, it's not the debate here today, but people say, oh, Donald Trump inherited his wealth. Fine. Whether it's $1 million or $10 million, I don't care what he inherited. It's now worth $5 to $10 billion. You can do all sorts of things with money when you make $1 million or $5 million. We just told you people that won $300 million and they blew it all in just a few years. So you have to admire somebody whose skill and ability had taken some money that they were given and grew it to an incredible fortune. Maybe it was the training at home. Maybe it was the training in a formal education at school. Maybe it was the on-the-job training, making some big mistakes and losing money, right? All of those things can happen. But I don't want you to work your lifetime and give money to those young people and have them blow it.
And with his situation or others, it's all the habits, what they've practiced going on. If you've practiced with $10,000 a year or $100,000, it just scales up to whatever you end up making. It's your habits, pretty consistent.
Yeah, and look, although some lotto commissions still allow you to be anonymous, social media, your friends seeing you drive a fancy new car of your dreams, you almost have to make up a story, letting that younger person in your life, or somebody gets drunk and spills the beans that's close to you, or right? I don't mean to make this about Donald Trump, but he doesn't drink alcohol, and here's why. Not because he's ever been an alcoholic, but he says, I don't drink alcohol because I saw what it can do and the power it can have over his brother, who passed away from alcoholism. He died. And he said his brother's one of the best people in the world, and yet he succumbed to that power. Be very careful if you choose to hang around people that have that power, that let that power get over them. Whether they are a normal gossip, everyday gossip kind of a person. Look, if they're telling you stories about other people, don't you think they're telling other people stories about you? I mean, you're not that special, right? So that's part of who you choose to hang around. And if these are people that are around the world, in your world, in your life, that can't manage their own finances, when you have a problem that is of a much larger magnitude, financially speaking, who are you going to go to? I have a very close relative to me who says, who needs $1 million? That's just, who needs to, oh my gosh, that's 10 million, that's way too much money. Not equating to, wow, that person may have saved somebody's life or created a way for hundreds of people to have housing, right? You just created a way for people to actually have a house, or you've given people jobs. So isn't that exciting? People have earned those jobs. They work. If not, they're fired. Or if you don't pay them enough, they quit, right? It's a right to work state. But at the same time, there is no value on who says who needs. What is it about need? Food, shelter, clothing? Okay. So there's value I want you to put with the money. so that the money doesn't. So I don't consult that person if I have a financial question, right? Because they're not going to get the fact that, oh, what about this or that? It doesn't fit with their narrative. Their narrative is rich people bad, poor people good. So we just choose to not talk about that. So be very careful around who you hang out with. How about this? I love this when 70% of the lotto winners end up bankrupt. How do we create it so that you can teach your kids the money they receive? Number one, you heard me, I don't want them hanging around with poor people. There's a reason why, like it or not. This isn't a judgment world conversation on this. But wealthy people send their kids to private school with other wealthy people. They join country clubs with other wealthy people so that they can hang out and learn with other wealthy people. Right? There's a reason that tennis courts and golf courses are a bit more expensive to put in, to have in your backyard, or to be a member of. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what happens, right? As opposed to mass sports like soccer and baseball, where everybody can join, and that's a lot of fun, and it's wonderful. But wealthy people have their children learn musical lessons with other people instead of just hanging out with video games. I mean, you see, they do different things because they want different things, because they can make different things, because they can create different things. So be very careful about who you hang out with. And I'm not telling you, go out and join a tennis club or go out and join a golf club. No. But see the power of who your children call friends. Number two is have a regular meeting about finances. It might be every night at the dinner table you guys talk about money, talk about a rental property that you own, talk about the stock market, 401ks, the difference between annuities and mutual funds. Have those conversations. Oh, wait, you don't know? Then you can learn. Because today, things called Google and Yahoo and Bing exist on your little computers, and it is free. You can search, you can learn how to build a nuclear reactor, speak French, tear apart a wristwatch. You can do almost anything you want, and it's all free on the internet. So learn how to have those financial conversations that match your family's values, right, where they fit, so that you can have those conversations.
Yes, as Arif was saying, all the information is there. It's all just a matter of applying it, figuring out what works for you. Many people will say different things on the same topic, and none of them seem to agree with each other. You got to figure out what works the best for your individual situation and your life, what makes the most sense. You know,
realize this, the one of the lotto winners won $150 million. $150 million. He could have spent $3,000 a day for the rest of his life and never run out of money. Did you grab that? $3,000 a day, not a month, a day. That's an amazing house, car, boat, plane. I don't care what you want to do. Dinner in Paris. I mean, you could do whatever you want. And yet he still went broke. It is almost never about the money. The sooner you realize that, the sooner you will emulate the right words, the right things that you say, the right people you choose to hang around with, so that your children can become worthy of accepting that job, that promotion, your inheritance, your pay raise that you get and you want to share with them someday. All of those things come from one place, and it's who you call friend, and it's your view of money, and it's what you think about and what you do about those things. So thanks for listening. I'm Arif Halaby. It's been a pleasure having you on, Logan.
Thank you, and glad meeting everyone.
We'll be back next week at this time on Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. You can always go to hometownstation.com, click on Total Financial Solutions, and send us an email. Sometimes we answer those questions right here on the air or shoot you an email back. Thanks for listening. Arif Halaby. This is Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. We'll be right back next week.